All right, everybody, little walk and talk action. How you doing? We're going to talk about dry January, what I learned from it, and how I'm going to carry that forward into my rest of my life, and what you can learn from it. So, it's supposed to be the entire month of January. You do not imbibe in alcohol or recreational drugs. And full disclosure, I didn't complete it 100%. On January 30th, I had a not so great day. Really pissed off about stuff, and instead of just taking a couple of melatonins and going to bed and shaking it off, I failed, had 2 glasses of wine. Those 2 glasses knocked me on my ass, and on January 31st, I felt like garbage. Not only was I disappointed in myself for not just holding out those extra 48 hours, but I also just felt like garbage. Now, here's what I learned. I simply don't want alcohol as part of my everyday life anymore. What I realized in January, the whole month of January, is I had never gone that long without having some cocktails since I graduated boot camp back in April of 1995. Think about that. For almost 30 years, I would probably go 4 or 5 days tops before having some libations. And as I've gotten older, I'd be lucky to go 2 or 3 days without having some libations, all right? So I must have been developing an alcohol dependency, because for me, when I think about mellowing out, I think of sitting in my lazy boy, having some whiskey on the rocks, and watching TV. In and of itself, that might not necessarily be that bad, all right? But typically, when I'd have that libation, I wouldn't have just a glass on the rocks of whiskey. I'd probably have 2 or 3. I wouldn't nurse that whiskey. I love it. It tastes great, okay? Problem is, as it's starting to taste better and better, and you're drinking more and more of it, you're doing some damage to yourself, all right? There's gonna be people who probably leave comments below saying, hey, there's nothing wrong with having a glass here and there. You're absolutely right. I'm not disputing that. I'm also going to say there's absolutely nothing wrong in not having alcohol. All right, period. I mean, it's like, all right, there's nothing to say that there's anything bad about it, but there's nothing to say that there's anything bad about not doing it. So, do you, all right? I'm telling you, I've learned from it that I just simply don't want it in my life. And if you're having issues with it too, I suggest you cut it out of your life, all right? Well, Chris, man, look, there's got to be some alternatives. There are, all right? I personally can't use some of the alternatives out there because of my job. I'm not about to lose my job just so I can have a little bit of a green cigarette, all right? But I do want to relax after a long day. You know, I've earned being able to chill out, right? So what have I found in the interim? All right, I'm going to talk about a couple of different things. One of them might be a little bit controversial. I really don't care. First and foremost, you have to do your research. Don't just use a YouTube video. That's how you're going to make your decisions. Or Rumble or any other streaming services this might be on. First thing that I found, not the first thing, but one of the things I've used is Kava. Now, I take it in just a tea form, basically. There's another form I'll talk about here in a minute. But I'll take my tea kettle, I'll bring the water to a boil, and then I'll take 2 bags, put it in a large coffee mug, and I've used the brand Yogi Kava. Amazing, all right? I wouldn't say that it gives me the same, I won't say euphoric feeling, but I guess that's the best way to describe it. The euphoric feeling you get from having a couple of drinks, not where you're drunk, but where you got the buzz going on. I don't necessarily feel that, but I typically feel relaxed and I can just chill. I'm mellow, all right? Next up, still using Yogi brand. I'll see if I can find pictures and put it in this video. It's an ashwaganda tea. That sometimes has given me the real chilled out feeling, and it's great. Now, what I'm going to tell you is be careful, not so much about what the effect is, because doesn't have an effect, but don't drink a whole lot of it before bed, because you're going to wake up in the middle of the night having to pee a lot, and that does suck. So maybe just have 1 cup. I've gone overboard and had like 2 or 3 cups while I'm chilling out with my wife playing card games. Go to bed around 9 o'clock. Next, you know, I'm waking up at midnight and again at 3 having to go pee. And it's like, oh man, so much for having a good night's sleep, right? Anyway, that I've also found, I get them in these little, like, 2-ounce shots, like, you know, your 5-hour energy drinks, from a company called Feel Free. I think it has Kava and Kratom in it. I'm not 100% sure, but those taken the right way, or at least the way that's worked for me, it chills you out. It's awesome. All right, you feel good. I take half of the bottle on an empty stomach. And I'm talking, I haven't eaten anything for a good 4 hours. Take half of that, almost like instantaneous, you feel pretty good. Sometimes I'll even take the full bottle, probably shouldn't. Next up is I have found green Malaysian Kratom with urban ice botanicals. Before you get into that, make sure it's legal in your state. It is legal federally, so I wasn't worried about that. But I wanted to make sure it was legal in this state because I saw it at one of the nutrition stores I go to. And I thought, okay, it is legal. So I've gotten that. That will really mellow you out if taken, well, I guess it's supposed to be the proper way again, on an empty stomach. Now, be sure you're going to see a medical professional before you start using any of these types of things. Because, you know, I mean, you're an adult, you know, make your own decisions. You know, don't go, well, this guy told me this on YouTube. I'm just a freaking dude. I'm nobody important. I don't have a lab coat. I don't have any sort of degrees to make me an expert on this. This is just one man's experience with things. Now, the other thing in January that I did that was really awesome, all of this was part of my coach, Rob Goodwin. It was part of his Berserker challenge. So there were different physical challenges or physical tasks you would do daily, like hammer swings on a sledgehammer, you know, swings onto a tire, or going for ruck walks, doing push-ups, all that other stuff. Every walk with these damn dogs, I got this on me. Or I'll talk about a weighted backpack that I have in a second. I started doing weighted walks, or ruck walking, whatever you want to call it, a couple months back, just because there's only so many hours in a day. And while I do definitely get a good sweat from walking on treadmills, I also just don't have that much time to do all of that, and also give the dogs a walk. So what did I do? I was like, well, to make these walks actually challenging, as you can tell, I'm a little bit labored in my breathing, I got to do something. So added a vest. I wanted to go with the Go Ruck backpack, but I was looking at spending $500-600. That's like almost 2 car payments for me. I'm not spending that kind of money on something, you know, just because that's like the cool brand to have. I'm sure they're great, but I'm not spending that kind of money. So I found this Ethos weighted vest at Dick's Sporting Goods, $200, so it wasn't cheap, but it gets the job done. The biggest con on this, however, is if you're gonna do like push-ups and the like, you aren't doing it with this done. At least not well. Your range of motion is way too limited, and it puts too much stress on your front delts, and it hurts like hell. So if you plan on doing a lot of that type of stuff, then you might either want to take a good rugged backpack like a 511 tactical and put some weights in there, or go ahead and spend the money on a Go Ruck. And what I can tell you about doing these weighted walks is I'm definitely getting the weight off of my body again as I'm in contest prep mode, and I'm killing 2 birds with 1 stone. I'm getting my cardio in while at the same time getting these dogs out and getting in some exercise. Because unless you're really out of shape, walking your dogs is not going to be that challenging, because half the time they walk a little bit slower than you would want to as far as a brisk walk. And of course they have to stop to relieve themselves, or stop and sniff and all that other good stuff. You might have to go for longer walks than you would if you were going to be on the treadmill for an hour, really sweating your butt off. But oh well, I'd rather be out on God's treadmill, aka outside, than in a sweat infested gym on a treadmill going absolutely nowhere. So that's pretty much it. Dry January, I highly recommend. However, don't be a failure. Actually go through the full 31 days, and you'll learn a lot more about the role that alcohol should place in your life. There's nothing to say that you can't enjoy a great libation for a special occasion, but should it really be that much of a daily routine for you? Probably not. All right, folks, hope you enjoyed this video. Comment below, like, subscribe to the channel, tell your other friends about it. Check out this next video over here, and have a great day. I love you. Bye.